I want to also bring up top of page 325. You say that there's a massive problem of defining and measuring rationality. And we've talked about rationality before and how that also is tied in with um, intellectualism, right? Like what is rationality really measurable? And is that how does that then tie in with intellectualism?
Right, right. So this part of the chapter is where I'm engaging with Peter Boghossian's sort of main thrust and his idea of street epistemology. And so, sort of, his goal is to pursue a more rational epistemology and to literally evangelize, like convert people and use these tools to bring about a more rational epistemology. And I concede a lot of points to him, and then I bring up these questions, which I think don't undermine his concerns, but they, I think, shed light on maybe some of the misguided um, fervor that the project might be going about with, or some of its techniques, or something like that. So, and this is really tied in with what we were just talking about of the idea, the cynicism and the arrogance and conceit of going around and being like, I can, I'm the skeptical, enlightened person, and let me uh, help you by enlightening you with skepticism. And in general, through his work, it's going to be all an atheist uh, laden approach. So I raise issues with that. And one of the questions is, okay, what expectation do we have of, what's a desirable result? Like how rational do we think people are right now, and where are we trying to get them? And I think, and this is all just theoretical, but like if you just sort of assess your own view of these things and you're like, well, I think people are like really low in rationality. Everyone is like, no one's really rational, and we need to be at like 90% rational. Well, what you're revealing there is that you're a fanatic,
Hmm.
and like you're gonna be I think that kind of person is going to be a lot more detrimental, and that movement wouldn't give me very much hope for actually doing good, even if I agree, which to some extent I do, uh, that they have some good in their initial identification of a problem, and that rational epistemology can be helpful. And so there's this idea that, well, if you think everybody's just going to be an intellectual and you think everybody is always going to be benefited by more rational, skeptical epistemology, I think you're delusional and fanatical. So I think that part of the issue that I bring up is that, life is an infinite game, and the intellect is one. Let's go back to video game analogies. Um, like, who doesn't love a stealth archer build, right? I mean, there are some people who it's not their thing, but there's a huge devotion of the stealth uh, range build, archer, sniper, whatever it might be. But that's not the only class that you can be. Some people are, why would you choose anything but a mage? Well, some people don't want to be a mage. They want to be, believe it or not, some people want to play a human warrior, or a human cleric, or whatever it might be. And and I think that again, it comes back to this conceit of people thinking, well, the really, if people were just um, honest or capable, then everyone would be intellectuals, and that would solve the problems of the world because then we'd all be true intellectuals, and we could all, get past the people who are muddying the waters by not being intellectual enough or whatever it is. Um, so I just think that the intellect is not the only purpose of being alive, and it doesn't conquer the world. There's much in the world that is good and wonderful and should stick around that is outside the realm of the intellect. And uh, I think that the fanatical pursuit of a rational epistemology and evangelizing people into that assumes fundamentally that everyone you run into is an intellectual who will benefit from that. And I think the most people who you assault with crazy skeptical inquiries are going to be disturbed. Yes, you will effectively disturb people, but it will not invigorate them. It will not improve their lives. It will lead them into depression and all sorts of cynicism because they're not intellectuals and they're not going to devote an enormous amount of their lives to pursuing extreme skepticism and sorting the wheat from the chaff. So that's kind of what that part is about, is making sort of oblique criticism of Peter Boghossian's plan of street epistemology.